Taiwan's military is on high alert as China has begun firing missiles near Taiwan.
Many people in Taiwan are starting to learn civil defense skills as cross-strait tensions rise.
Taiwan's Rainbow Village shuts down amidst controversy.
And finally, in Hashtag Taiwan, I'll tell you how Taiwan's internet reacted to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's historic visit. This is Taiwan Insider.
Welcome to the show. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi came to Taiwan this week. Here's a highlight from her visit.
Taiwanese President Taichung and U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi met at Taiwan's presidential office on Wednesday morning. It was a grand occasion, and grand occasions call for grand ceremonies. Tai presented Pelosi with one of Taiwan's highest civilian honors. Pelosi seemed pleased with the medal as well.
I look forward to displaying this award in the Speaker's office, or wearing it there. Right?
After a joke to lighten the mood, Pelosi got down to business and talked a bit of shop.
43 years ago, with the Taiwan Relations Act, America made a bedrock promise to always stand with Taiwan. Came to Taiwan to make unequivocally clear we will not abandon our commitment to Taiwan, and we are proud of our enduring friendship.
President Taichung followed Pelosi's remarks by saying Taiwan will not falter in the face of increasing military threats. She says the country will defend its sovereignty. Tsai added that Taiwan will cooperate with democracies around the world to defend democracy itself. Across the Taiwan Strait, China claims Taiwan as part of its territory. It warned against Pelosi's trip and has said that consequences will come to Taiwan if the visit goes through. However, with Pelosi and Tsai's meeting, the response to such threats remains clear. Taiwan and the U.S. stand together and stand strong.
China reacted by banning some Taiwanese food products and conducting live-fire military drills. Taiwan's military is on high alert.
Moments after Pelosi landed, China's Navy announced a series of exercises in waters around Taiwan. Some of these drills will occur only 20 kilometers from Taiwan's shore. Taiwan's Navy has responded. In southern Taiwan's Kaohsiung, battleships and submarines were mobilized on Wednesday. Experts say these Chinese exercises represent a clear threat to Taiwan. Researcher Zhang Jing says China is hoping to instill fear in Taiwanese people. He says Beijing is waging cognitive warfare and seeks to scare and intimidate Taiwan's population. Locals in Kaohsiung, though, think war is unlikely.
China will be conducting live-fire exercises in 6 areas near Taiwan waters. This is unprecedented. How do people feel about Pelosi's visit? Was it good for Taiwan, or was the cost too high? A quick mini poll on Twitter found that most respondents think the trip was good for Taiwan. But the threat of war has been on people's minds in Taiwan. Civil defense classes, like this one hosted by Forward Alliance and Spirit of America, have been fully booked. Ever since the Ukraine war began in February, a spirit of resistance has been awakening in Taiwan as well. There's been a lot more talk about enhancing Taiwan's own defenses, and civilians in Taiwan have been much more interested in learning civil defense skills. Classes like this one, put on by the Forward Alliance and Spirit of America, have about 1,000 people on the waiting list, as people of all ages and backgrounds are eager to learn how to respond and help others in the event of a disaster. Enoch Wu served in Taiwan's Special Forces and has been advocating for civil defense in Taiwan as the director of the Forward Alliance. He tells us why it's so important.
This is about empowerment, right? This is about taking action. This is about unity and public service. And I think Taiwan society has there's a strong demand for this kind of program, and we'll do our best to meet it.
Besides teaching survival and defense skills, Wu tells us what he wants people to remember.
I think if there's one message, it's what we have up here on the flyer, which is everyone can help. Everyone can make a difference.
His course teaches people critical skills and mindsets like how to respond in an emergency, and also medical know-how, such as how to treat the critically injured. An important skill participants learn is how to stop victims from bleeding as people can die from blood loss within just 5 minutes. About 40% of trauma-related deaths worldwide are due to bleeding or its consequences, making uncontrolled bleeding the biggest cause of preventable deaths from trauma. Skills like these can be useful in an earthquake, fire, or military attack. Emily Wu, Enoch's sister, recently took the class for the first time and shares her insights.
Because disasters happen all the time, natural disasters or earthquakes or man-made disasters. It teaches us some of the things to be aware about, and I think it's so important. That's kind of why I'm here, to also be able to tell more people that, look, this is really important, and this is what the class looks like. I think everybody around the world, wherever you are, whichever country you're in, whichever region, you should have basic skills like these.
This young lady also shares what she thought of the course.
I really liked it because I learned a lot how to save a person.
You're never too young to learn, and many people in Taiwan think that now is a better time than ever to be trained in civil defense skills.
While people are learning how to protect themselves, others are thinking about how to protect Taiwan's precious landmarks. Now, recently, a popular attraction in Taichung was vandalized, much to locals' dismay.
The Rainbow Village is one of the most famous landmarks in Taichung. It was originally a military dependence village turned into a piece of art by a former soldier, Huang Yongfu. Huang was trying to save it from demolition. On Monday, the village closed for 6 months to undergo renovation amid controversy. 14 employees of Rainbow Creative Co., the company hired to look after the site, were taken in for questioning over the weekend for alleged vandalism. They were caught red-handed painting over Huang's murals. Huang, now 98 years old, was angered by the act. He says the murals did not belong to the company and it's him who spent sleepless nights painting them. The company's head told local media that the action was a protest against Taichung government's unilateral decision to remove the company from the site. There is also a legal dispute over intellectual property rights to the artwork. But city officials say they will sue the company for painting over the murals. After renovation work is completed, the city government plans to allow Huang to move back into the village. Officials hope he'll be able to turn this bleak story into something a little more rosy.
Now, painting an entire village takes loads of creativity. And creativity is not in short supply in Taiwan. The Kaohsiung Creative Expo kicks off tomorrow, and visitors will be able to see for themselves just how imaginative Taiwanese people are.
An adorable white seal is set to float in Kaohsiung Harbor. This mascot is meant to welcome the 2022 Creative Expo Taiwan, which is being organized for the first time in Kaohsiung this year. The picture-perfect seal and his partner Blow Penguin are meant to bring attention to the expo, and it's working. People are flocking from around Taiwan to snap a picture with these cute mascots. A few visitors say they can't decide which one is cuter, but all agree having these unique visitors in the harbor has an almost therapeutic quality. But the Creative Expo stands on its own. The event is Taiwan's most important platform for showcasing and selling its cultural and creative merchandise. This year's expo is set to last from August 5th to the 14th. Its cultural section will aim to use the Taiwan in our eyes to craft a cultural and creative journey. And the creative side is set to showcase creative and cultural brands in Taiwan. With cute blow-up animals and unique cultural products, this year's expo looks to be a truly Taiwanese experience.
Nancy Pelosi's in Taiwan, and if you didn't hear about it, then I'm curious about your internet browsing habits because that news is everywhere. Anyway, if you haven't heard about the news story, you will, because just by virtue of clicking on this video, your internet algorithm is going to start recommending you some news stories that's going to tell you about Pelosi's trip to Taiwan. So, who is Nancy Pelosi and why is her trip to Taiwan a big deal? She's Speaker of the US House of Representatives, which makes her second in the US presidential line of succession. That means if anything were to happen to US President Joe Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris, Pelosi would become president. Yeah, she's pretty up there. As we've said before, China claims Taiwan as part of its territory. China doesn't like it when Taiwan is referred to as a separate country in any way, sort, or form. And when it comes to the US's response to that claim, well, the US sticks to what it calls strategic ambiguity. That means it won't clearly say what its position on China's claim over Taiwan is. But by sending Pelosi to Taiwan, the US is kind of legitimizing Taiwan's identity as a separate sovereign state. It's like Taiwan is independent enough to have high-ranking US officials visit without needing to go through China first. Does that make any sense? The last time a US House Speaker visited Taiwan was in 1997. Newt Gingrich was in the country for about 3 hours. This time, Nancy Pelosi stayed overnight. And her length of stay is significant because it affects at least one promotion at one store. In Zhanghua County, people who buy a box of pastry at one store can get one free extra pastry every hour Pelosi stays in Taiwan. So, if you buy a box of pastry at that one store and Pelosi stays in Taiwan for 12 hours, then you can get 12 free pieces of pastry. As of recording, Pelosi is tentatively scheduled to stay in Taiwan for about 20 hours, so good luck to that store owner. But even before Pelosi arrived in Taiwan, people were tracking her flight online. At one point, 500,000 people were tracking Pelosi's plane on flight tracker websites. In fact, the increased traffic caused outages for one such service. When she landed, Pelosi announced her arrival on Twitter, saying, "Our delegation's visit to Taiwan honors America's unwavering commitment to supporting Taiwan's vibrant democracy. Our discussions with Taiwan leadership reaffirm our support for our partner and promote our shared interests, including advancing a free and open Indo-Pacific region." Overall, people in Taiwan are pretty happy that she came. The airport where she landed and the hotel where she was staying saw huge crowds of people hoping to catch a glimpse and welcome her. Now, there's a lot of fear that Pelosi's visit will spark some sort of conflict. But people in Taiwan have responded to those fears with humor. One internet meme going around shows Pelosi as a storm system that closed in on Taiwan despite China's ire. Then there's another picture that said people in Taiwan were, quote, safe from Nancy playing with whatever fire China was referring to. And that's in response to remarks made by Chinese officials who said that Nancy Pelosi visiting Taiwan was like playing with fire. I mean, what else can we do at this point? From what I can see, for the most part, people in Taiwan were pretty stoked that Pelosi visited, me included. I just hope you had a good time, Nancy. And we're back in the studio for our final question of the day, and we can ask any number of questions, but I've decided to stick with the Kaohsiung Creative Expo because I saw that giant seal, the mascot, and I just thought, well, that's just too adorable. So my question is, what kind of mascot would you have? A large inflatable mascot floating on the Kaohsiung River just to represent Taiwan. Natalie, what would you choose?
I would love to have a large inflatable bubble tea.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with bubble tea. It's like comfort drink.
Absolutely not. It's very iconic. It's very symbolic of Taiwan.
People love it all around the world.
Absolutely. I, on the other hand, would choose to have our own Madam President to be the mascot.
That'd be adorable.
She's been cartoonified many times in many different ways, and she's just become a very symbolic person within Taiwan. All of the news stories just kind of laud her as a female democratic leader, and I think that's worth celebrating. I think she's have a good sense of humor about it. Anyway, that's about all the time we have for this edition of Taiwan Insider. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Leslie Liao.
I'm Natalie Tso, and do follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter.
There's also Instagram and YouTube. There's just so much fun stuff for you out there. Anyway, guys, we'll be back with another edition of Taiwan Insider next week. But until then, see you next time and stay safe.